Right, so to anyone watching back, little derailment there, always starts with a derailment, but welcome to the stream. Sorry, it's the camera's tripod thingy knocking on the train. I put a bit too close to the track. So I'm just gonna get myself all set up, but yep, welcome to the stream, or if you're rewatching it, just welcome back. Not planning on being a long stream, and yep, there was no warning on Discord or anything about this live stream going ahead. In fact, this is the first time I've used the layout in ages. So I'm just gonna set up chat. And we've got at the moment the Rat, as they're known as, or Class 25, which is Bachmann model, all weathered up. We've got him running with 7 Mark 1s. 4 chocolate and creams, 1 blood and custard and 2 maroons. And then on the inner line we're running a freight train, and it's the L92 London Transport pannier tank with a small goods train which consists of a couple of open wagons, a brake van, 20 tonner, and some different box vans, various different types. So it's a bit random. I'm not planning on changing the consists, but the actual trains themselves, I will change the locomotives. So I may shorten or lengthen some of them, but we'll just see how it goes. I do have a small lineup of engines to pull the trains. Nothing massive, but like I say, we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, I haven't done any of this for a long time, not even used the model railway. So this evening it's had a bit of a clean up, and got a few trains, make sure they still work actually, and they do, which is good. I may be tempted to change up the passenger consist mostly, making it shorter, or maybe changing a few bits of rolling stock, but I'll see. Like I say, I'm not too sure. I haven't got much rolling stock put by, it's just my case of things I put random bits and pieces in, to be honest. Normally what I use the most, but I haven't really been using the model railway for nearly a year now. Only really for streams. It's not really stuff I use much. If I run anything, it's normally what you sort of see now. A very quiet model to run, and the Mark 1s. And I never really run the inner line out of a stream. Very rare I do. I normally don't even have it plugged in. But yeah, so the consist there, the first Mark 1 is Bachmann, then the blood and custard Hornby, then the next 2 chocolate and creams are Kitmaster ones that were made by a previous owner, followed by a Lima BG, and then the last 2 are Hornby Railroads. I do have another one actually, but it's not in the consist, it's actually in the box. The Kitmaster ones were picked up this year for me as a present. and they're very nice, very well done out. Even inside they've got people reading newspapers and what have you. It's very nicely done out, I think. And yeah, they run quite well. They've been done with quite a close coupling mechanism as well. A couple very close, a lot better than a lot of modern stock, actually. So because I haven't actually done much with the hobby in nearly a year now, I haven't really bought any new stuff. I've had the Kitmaster coaches, but that was a present. I bought Green Knight, which you won't see today, and the coach you see here. And I think that's literally about it, and that's a lot less than I would normally. However, Black Prince has been made by Hornby, and because I've got Green Knight, it would make sense to get Black Prince, and it was something I did plan on getting. Well, just when it came out, but and haven't actually. It's still sort of toying on my mind, shall I get it or shan't I? Makes sense to get one to go with Green Knight, but at the same time, it's over 200 quid for an engine, which is quite a lot, quite steep. So we've got one or two people watching at the moment. We'll just see how it goes on. Probably won't be on here for terribly long, but I'm only really thinking an hour or two, but it's just a case of seeing how it goes, really. And diesels are to some people's tastes, that's why I thought I'd start off with it. Some people like to see diesel. I've often been told to have a bit more diesel running, but for the steam fans we've got a lovely Pannier, so it's quite nice, and one that I've worked on before, so in real life. I don't know if the 25's a preserved engine, but I know L92 is currently awaiting overhaul at the South Devon Railway. But yeah, like I say, not a clue on the Class 25. It's 25043 if you wanted to Google it. And if you know, let me know, or when it got scrapped or what have you. It's a very nice model. It's my strongest engine I've got. The 25. Very good. I've never been able to actually put it to the test of its strength because it can pull the whole layout's length. I've had rolling stock all go up to the both ends of it, and it can pull it very happily without a single bit of strain, which is quite amazing for something like this, I think, at least. It's all-wheel drive, which is, I think, very clever. It's not just one wheel that's sort of driven, and then, you know, like on a model steam engine like this Bachmann one axle will be driven, and the other two wheels are sort of just unpowered, but they sort of roll with it. Whereas this 25, all the axles are powered. It's very clever. It's got nice large flywheels installed. It's got lights, as you can see, directional, so the back of the train will be red, and the back of the loco, and the front are white, which is the I've forgotten the name of it. The box is on the top, which sort of the destination codes. As you can see, this one's all zeros, which I can't remember what that meant, if it was a light engine or something, but what's interesting is both ends are not the same. Well, they're both all zeros, but the position of the zeros vary, which is quite nice. But yeah, very nicely weathered model. The only thing I added to it was I weathered buffers themselves, put a bit of black paint on them, and that was just to look like a bit of old grease on them, which I think enhanced it that little bit more. In fact, when I purchased the model a long time ago now, I was very surprised that it wasn't done. And all it took was a bit of black paint on the end of a cotton bud. Just dab it on. Very random, nothing neat, doesn't have to be. Never was in real life, if you know what I mean. It's exactly how it was. And there's a blue panel on the side, which is quite interesting. It is definitely a very interesting model. Very smooth, very quiet, and what have you. It's very good. See, this model railway layout is a good few years old now. I want to say 7 or 8 years old now, which I can't really believe, you know. There's definitely things I'd change about it if I started it again now. I definitely wouldn't have these. I'd wire it properly instead of using the old Hornby things. They're quite unsightly. But I went with what was easiest for me. That's why there's no other wiring underneath for things like lights and what have you. But yeah, it's built to be a simple layout really, and it's never been finished. But I'd definitely do things differently with it, I think, if I was to build it again. In fact, I feel like I should build the East Somerset Railway, really, because that's the engines I collected, the ones that visited there since I joined there. Good evening, Chris. How are you doing? Long time no see. It's been about 4 months since the last stream, which is quite mad, I think. It goes quick, the time. But it is nice. I think it is nice to be back briefly. Like I say, it won't be a very long stream, I don't think. I've already started a lot later than I normally would. I always try and aim to start at 7. And 8:30, it's a bit later, but still. The channel's doing fairly well, considering I've basically stopped making content. At least it's not weekly like it used to be. I stopped doing that over a year ago, nearly 2 now. So basically what happened was I filmed a lot in advance and I was about a year ahead. And it felt like I should hit a break, and I stopped making content for nearly a year. Well, practically halted. I might have made the odd video here and there, like a random one, but in general, to be honest, I practically stopped. And basically, ever since I took the break, I haven't had a lot of motivation to sort of start doing it again. And, you know, I filmed enough for the first odd year of cutting down to sort of still have my sort of break, but just not release as much. And now the last sort of year I've been so busy that, and then when I get the free time I don't really feel like doing it. Live streams I feel I'm more capable of doing it, because I can just sit in an evening, relax, run some trains, which I don't actually do really anymore. And it's nice to get the layout working and sort of looking at things, doing things that I used to do. It's quite nice to run the trains, run the collection I've built up over the years. Now I think people probably wonder, like, the layouts and that, the harbour, since its last update video, which is probably about a year old now, progress has been made, but not a lot, because I was going to do so much until I had a goal of doing so much before I actually continued, and I've completely forgotten what that goal was, to be honest. But it did progress, but that now has been on halt for a very long time, because I've sort of lost my interest for it as much now. I'm just waiting to sort of get back into it again. And then we got the Little Kingston, my little micro layout. The Harbour's a micro layout, but this one's a very micro layout, Little Kingston. And I basically done a video saying I'm going to rebuild it. And I have been rebuilding it. That's gone, I mean, again, haven't done much to it for a long time, but that is one that I will actually work on. If I haven't got a burst of, let's do some at Model Railway, I get that out and do a little bit of progress on it, a tiny bit of work, maybe not much, but to an extent I'll do something. And to be fair, in reality, if I sat down and put my head to it, I could probably do it in a day or two and finish it off. But again, that's just been sat. A lot of work's been done to it, so it's progressed well. And I did actually think the other day about maybe even doing something like an update for both layouts in one, but the initial plan is, for the Little Kingston at least, was not to post a single update video and just post a video once it's finished and go through everything I've done. Because the whole purpose of it, the rebuild, is it's going to be like the same but enhanced, and there has been little changes, things swapped out, but in reality the things that need doing to it are the tree line being put on, the steps for the signal box have been painted but not glued in place, and the little path or a little hedge and what have you for that, and rebuilding the station, which I really don't want to do. I think that's what's thrown me off doing it, because I do not feel like doing any scratch building, and I need to print off a load more paper and sort of start from scratch. And I like the station as it is, but it has got water damaged, and quite water damaged, even the platform itself. And the platform's never been perfectly level, it's got a dip in it, and I think it would be worth rebuilding it, but it's just, I think that's the big thing to tackle now. Everything else is little things. Outlaws have always been little jobs, which is quite pleasant, but it's this one big hurdle to get over. And it's to be honest, it's not that massive, it's just sort of time consuming. And yeah. However, I think, again, it's just going to be, one day I'll sort of start getting into the mood of it. I'll start doing little bits here and there, and then all of a sudden, that's all I'll be doing for a while, until I go off it again for a bit and go on to something else for a bit. But we'll have to see. I have all 20 points and slips on the front of my layout, working electrically now. So I just sit and play trains most evenings now. And I think that's the way for it, really. People always, I think, worried when I started a model railway, because I liked to have things done, the aspect of it's not going to be done in a day. But in reality, I think as soon as you got track up, I mean with this layout at least, I set the track up, and ever since I'm majorly fussed on doing scenery. I think for a lot of people, it's about building the layouts more than the actual running. And I think that's me for the micro layouts. I do the micro layouts more for the building than the actual running trains. Whereas this layout, I tend to run trains for the sake of running them and not that fussed about the scenery. And I think it is literally because I can the micro layouts, you have to constantly be at the controller doing things, whereas this, I can leave the power on, not touch the controllers for ages until I swap trains over, and I can just sit and relax and watch them. It's also given all these engines a good run today. Stretched their legs after a while. This 25 has probably ran the most since. And when I say ran the most, it was not long ago. I cleaned the layout, put that on, and probably ran it for 10 minutes, and that was it. And that was probably a couple of months ago. Personally, I hate building but love running stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think it's sort of more like a 50-50 split, to be honest. Some love it, some hate it. At the end of the day, the most exciting bit for most people are the engines they own and to run. Not even the rolling stock on occasions. I must admit that I have a lot of engines that I don't have the rolling stock for. It took me years to buy this Hornby coach that I've been planning to buy for quite a long time, back when Hattons released the P-Class. Which is quite mad, really. I'll probably start to consider changing. I'll probably just change the Class 25 in a minute for something a bit different. I've got a small lineup today, but it's not massive. One of the engines is 39, which is the Hornby one, but it's been repainted by a friend of mine. So it sort of matches 39 in the condition she is now, apart from the paint fade the real engine has. Wants weathering for that, but yeah, I might give it white walls one day, because that livery 39 is in now. The actual engine doesn't have the white walls, but I believe when they built the engine, it did have them, and there are colour photos of it with the white walls painted. But it's not a plan to do right away. It's sort of a maybe in the future I'll do it. It'll wear off quicker than any other bit of paint, to be honest. Got 5 people on at the moment. Well, it's probably more 4. I'll drop down to 3 now. Because the iPad will flag up as one person watching. But touch wood, everything's going well at the moment. I only started off with a derailment, but then I did actually knock the coaches, putting my lamp on the layout the other end, and derailed them, so I had to sort of guess from being stood up. I'm trying to buy rolling stock for individual Lotus too. I had 60 diesels and no rolling stock for them, but now I have 12 ARC hoppers for your 59s and 18 Yeoman hoppers for his. I think the Yeoman livery is quite smart. Very, I don't want to say very minimalistic, but it's fairly simple, but it's smart. And 8 freight liner boxes for your Acura scale 66. What's that like? I say that, like I say, I haven't really touched the hobby much, so I haven't been buying stuff, but I mean, I used to want the Acura scale Manor, and I have a Manor now, but it's God, it's been that long I can't remember names that well. Mainline, I think it is. Bachmann, sort of before Bachmann had them. But it's a very good engine, because it was like it's been sat in its box nearly all its life. original box and papers, and the wheels look like they barely rotated, and I mean, I pulled it apart and found the original factory grease in it, so I mean, it's like new. Apart from handrail broken on the tender, but it's such a tiny thing, it's not really worth worrying about. It's practically an immaculate engine, and I picked it up for something like, I feel like I want to say 25 quid. It was either 25 or 35, but I feel like I'm nearly certain it's the 25 mark. It's heavy and runs smoothly. You bought a 37 of it? That was one I thought of, because I don't have a 37. And I thought it'd be quite good. Because I mean, the Deltic was nice, but I didn't think I'd use it as much as I would a 37. But if I had a 37, I'd have to have green with partial yellow ends, I think. Battle Nano is a bit disappointing, because it's a bit weak puller. Might sell it and get an Akira scale one instead. See, if I got an Akira scale, I wanted Dinmore Manor. I've always liked Dinmore. I love the black livery, all lined. I think it's a very smart livery, especially on a Manor. I think that's what suits them so well, really. .37's green and yellow ends. I feel like that might have been the one I was looking at, actually, back along, just before they went out to the public. But the last engine I bought was the only one I've bought this year, back in January. But having Green Knight, which is the one I bought, really makes me think I should get Black Print, but I'm finding it hard to sum it up at the moment, because it's over 200 quid, and for the fact that I don't really use the layout, it's sort of a bit, I don't know, feels like a bit of a waste at the moment. I think if I got into the hobby again more, then it would sort of be more reasonable, but I don't want it to be too late. I can't buy a Black Prince, you know, and then unless wishing I had bought one. It's sort of a difficult decision. But it is a lot of money, but then it's a lot of loco. But yeah, I think it's still quite expensive. The last engine I bought brand new was nearly a year ago. Next month will be a year. Blimey, that's actually quite surprising. Can't believe that. And the photo of the actual loco running unfitted 16-ton mineral wagon train to Newport on the 2nd February 1968. So that's the train I'm aiming for. The model actually has the correct head code on it. Well, that's good then. So do you have one getting some 16-ton mineral wagons for it to haul? I've around half a dozen, but I need 15. Oh, so you've got a bit to go. Is it a mix of brands you've got, or are you aiming for a certain brand, or is there... Because is Akira Scale making some? Or is it Bachmann? I know Bachmann always make them. have a feeling I read somewhere about some new ones being made or released, I can't remember. And there's a brake van in the photo, so you want a brake van then, if you haven't got one already. All sorts of brands I have. That will do cheap ones, and first they're going to release a whole load of versions. The thing is, you don't want the same, well, I mean, I say that, I'm someone that I won't be majorly fussed if I had a lot of the same number. I've got some Mark IIs, they're not actually mine, but I've had them lent to me for years now. I don't use them that much, but they get more use than the actual owner would get out of them, you see. And they're all the same number, but of course when they're running around the track, you guys haven't got the opportunity really to lock on them little numbers on the side to really pay attention. Maybe if you had O gauge, I guess you want to think of it a bit more, but I don't know. So if you haven't noticed already, I've changed the Inner Lines engine to the Western Clevedon and Portishead Railway Terrier number 4. Nice engine, I bought new. Not long after the new Terriers came out, because I think for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just match the accuracy more, but when Hornby released the new Terriers, which I have one of, I have the 100th anniversary one called Merton. But when they released that sort of type, they released that one, I think, in the old tool version. I bought it regardless, it was a bit cheaper than the others, and it's quite a nice model. Not that it gets a lot of use, none of them do really, but it's always quite pleasant. I bought it at the railway. You have a set of transfers for renumbering, but you might not bother. I think it depends on how keen you are for a project, how fussed you are, and probably a couple of other little factors. But I know for myself I wouldn't majorly want to do it, but I mean, if you had a day off work and you wanted to do a lot, you want to do a load in one go, to spend the whole day doing some, or as an evening project over a week or so, I think it just depends, doesn't it, on different factors. So we got the 15XX sat there now, but I'll let it sit for a little bit with the sound just hissing away. It's a very nice model. This is the last brand new model I bought. It is actually my most expensive, but that is primarily because it's actually a sound fitted engine. If I got the non-sound fitted, it wouldn't have been. But I mean, I must say that it has changed the game for me with 00 gauge engines. It's surprising the difference having a chuff makes, actually. Quite nice. That Terrier is a bit of a noisy runner, but it's got the old Type 7 motor, I want to say. Could have the thing wrong, the name wrong. I have plain black non-logo, non-sound DCC version. I would like, because I know you can have the volume adjusted on them, because this is actually a DC layout. And I would love it if I could have someone to knock the volume up, but I'll get that sorted eventually. It's not major, and I don't want it turned up that much. It's just at the other end of the layout, and it's not really a big layout. I tend to hear the old rolling stock more than I hear the actual engine. I mean, it's like now, I know the Terrier's not a sound-fitted engine anyway, but it's loud enough. So loud I can't hear the 15XX. But as you can hear, the safety valves have gone off now. Just stop the other one so you can have a little bit of a listen. All I will say is that sound of the firehold doors closing happens before the light goes out. It's just slightly timed wrong, but it's only a tiny bit. So I'm not majorly gonna, complain about it too much. Should be quite straightforward if you know anyone with a DCC controller that will alter the functions with and know which function it is. Will be in the manual. Well, the East Somerset models where I got the engine from, at the railway, I know they were on about setting up some track like they used to have, because they, not terribly long ago, redesigned the whole sort of shop floor again. The format of it is quite good now. It's definitely better than what it used to be, I think. And they were, it's not, I don't think it was major. They might have it set up by now, but I know they were on about having a bit of DCC track set up, which I thought, well, I can just take it there to be done really when the time comes, because it's not a major thing. Again, I don't use them much, but it is one of my most used engines since I got it. Which, like I say, don't get me wrong, I haven't been using the layout much, but it's, it is my most used engine. Most used engines is 4110, this one, and the 25. Anyway, we're going to do a nice departure, so I'll be quiet for it. And there we go. Does sound nice. Just like I say, needs to be a bit louder. Injectors going on now. Let's set the Terrier off again. It's one of my very favourite panniers. I couldn't tell you what my favourite pannier was, to be honest. I quite like a lot of them. I did quite like the 9400s. I think the 15XXs definitely have a more unique look to them. Whereas, say, like the 1600s, the 57s and what have you, look a lot... I mean, I'm going to hate people saying it, but they look a lot, like you're saying, very similar in looks. There are definitely differences, but they sort of, you line them up, they are very similar. Whereas that stands out a bit more as something different. You know, a non-enthusiast could see a lot of the panniers as the same sort of engine, even though they're not. Whereas that stands out as different. And I think that's why I like the 94XX as well. Plus it was one of my first models I bought after setting up the layout, so which I bought the Lima one. I now have the Lima and the Bachmann one. And then I like the 5700 and what have you. I like this, to be fair, I like the 1600 because I think it's got this nice little, more squat looking aesthetic to it. It looks quite nice. Do have a soft spot for the tiny 1360. Tell you what, I think that is my favourite, to be honest. I get this one as outside cylinders, but you know, it was the little, well, these are much beefier. These little outside cylinders, I think it suits it really nice. And yeah, I think the 1366 is nice. I really wanted a model of them, but Helgen are the ones that made them, which is a bit of a moment. Someone I know was selling one not long ago, and I was very tempted, but I didn't. But I think for the age of them and what people are selling them for, it's a bit much at the moment. I think maybe when they start going down a bit, then I might think about it. I believe it is Chris. I believe it's Hawksworth. I don't know if you can actually hear the 15XX that well over the Terrier. People probably don't like the fact that the two engines are running the same way around the layout, but to be honest, I like having them go round clockwise. For whatever reason, I've always had them go that way. Plus, it makes the engine face you in the camera. I only have a GWR livery 1366, but I'm looking for a black early Emblem one. Might end up repainting a number in it to one that was shedded at Swindon. That's a good idea. See, I wanted... The problem is a lot of the ones available as well was shirt button, and I wanted Great Western on the tanks instead of the shirt button. I'll have to see with Nathan, who's had my 4575 for a long time, which is he's been doing into 5542. His biggest trouble has been finding the shirt buttons on the right size, because believe it or not, 5542, the shirt button livery. It was in when we had it at Cranmore for a bit. Basically, the shirt button logo is the size of a bin lid. And the way I know that is because the chap, I can't remember who it was, but the chap basically at the time held a bin lid up to the side of the tanks and went, I want the logo that size. So it's been hard for him to find the right size or get some that are close enough. I can't remember if he did or not, but yeah, he's been doing subtle work to it, sort of changing things about to match. We're trying to make it as close to 5542 was at Cranmore. So we're even going to do a bit of weathering, I think, at Cranmore. That's the one you have. Ah, you lucky thing then. If you're wondering, that lamp, it's just a torch thing in it. It's missing its green lens. It's got the red one. It is missing the green one. And the bracket that held the glass in is broken on one side, which needs doing. It's a lamp that needs work. It should be green as well, I think, and it's black. It's another thing that may be a project at some point, but I don't really want to repaint it because I think the black looks quite smart, even though it's not the most beautiful of paint jobs and it has worn off in places, but I sort of like the worn in look, to be honest. It is a nice lamp. Well, it's a genuine 1945 War Department lamp, and it came from the Longmoor Military Railway. I was given it not long ago, and I think the chap who gave it to me, my friend, my friend got it from Longmoor. And he said they're practically throwing things away, so people sort of took what they wanted. And it hasn't got a burner in it. The right way of doing it is get a proper WD burner, but they're practically impossible to find. However, it's a very similar design for other lamps that size, so I think the sort of wise way of doing it is get like a non-WD burner, like an LMS one or something, and put it in there. It's a brake van lamp as well, so now you know what goes on. At Cranmore we have a Longmoor Military Railway brake van. It's not in the Longmoor livery. It is definitely a bit of history. I think it was sort of given to me to repaint and what have you, but like I say, I quite like the black. I definitely would like to try and sort the glass out maybe in the future, and other bits and pieces, get a burner in it, but because it hasn't got the sort of bracket to use on the loco, I think that's why I'm not majorly sort of thinking about it. If it had the bracket on the back, because it's a brake van lamp, it's different. I think if it was a loco lamp, I think I'd be a bit more encouraged, I think. But it is a really nice lamp, and I have it on display at home, and it's very nice. It's not normally on the layout. I thought I'd put it there, show it off a little bit, in addition to the collection. It is a very recent one. So I don't know if you remember me having some Dublo locos. It was my friend who I'd done them up for, who gave me that. I a lot of my railway stuff has come from him, actually, which I am forever grateful for. But yeah, all I've actually done to it is put some brass around the ring on the lens, and it looks quite nice shined up. It does need doing again, but things tarnish quite quickly, to be honest, so but it is shinier than what it was. It is nice. But yeah, I'll probably do some work to it at some point. You know what it's like, you get projects and then you get another one in or what have you, or you get busy and you forget it's there, really. Even though it's in plain sight, you sort of forget, oh yeah, I need to buy this and that for it. Like I say, if I saw a genuine WD burner, it'd be perfect, but I strongly doubt I will. It's got a high crust top to it. And it is a WD one. It has the little logo on the back or the side. I can't remember what. There's a little plaque that says it's 1945 and has the WD sort of sign on it. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of clear, which I don't know if it's just set for when you use the burner or if it was actually a clear setting, a white. But there's definitely a red and meant to be a green in there, which I think the glass would probably be the hardest thing to find, although I have seen people selling glass for lamps. I think manufacturing your own sort of bracket for it would work. It's just sort of soldering it in, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Have you looked at memorabilia? No, I haven't. To be honest, I've only sort of had a quick look on eBay a couple of times when I got the lamp. And that's about it. And like I say, I've sort of forgotten about working on it, really. Of course, this is a much more, I think, valued lamp than the Bardix, you see. And of course, I've repainted Bardix, but I think I'd be a little bit unnerved about doing that one. I think that's one of the reasons I haven't really touched it. The Bardix there's loads of, but there's not many of those. Although not in original paint and what have you. It's my tail lamp that's I can never work on, because if I do anything to it, I will basically halve its value, half what it's worth, because it's completely original paint and what have you, all well looked after. It only gets used at Christmas time. In fact, I doubt it'll get used this year, but I mean, you know, chuck some paraffin in it and use it how it should be used. A little bit, but not much, just when I can on the railway, and yeah. The Artel lamp from Acton Yard, which in fact I have a shunting truck from Acton Yard. It's a hand as well. You can just see through, well, you probably can't, but it says Acton. I like that shunter's truck. I don't really use it that much. It's just nice to have. It looks smart. Especially with a Western engine. I have a Batman 17 junction strap that's onto my packet. See, I wanted a packet once. Daphne, I thought it was really nice. The pictures always look really nice, but seeing it in the flesh, the pictures didn't do it justice. It's a really nice looking engine. Right, knowing me, this is when things will go wrong. I'm just going to disappear a second and I'll be back. I'm back. All Rustin 48, nice. It is a nice little engine. I bought it roughly just after Hornby released them, and it's really nice. And you know what? They run really well without the match track. I get why Hornby added them, but it can really cope well without it. And I don't think it's got a capacitor in it or anything, which is quite amazing really, I think. Very neat and very nice, and as it's my slowest engine at full power, which is still a lot faster than scale speed. I mean, that's going a lot faster than actual scale speed, but still looks nice. Its main thing it does for me is the track cleaner, the Dapple track cleaner. The main thing I use it for, because like I say, it's the slowest at full power, because of course this is a DC layout, and it does the track cleaning. Never tried mine without the match rubbing because doubt it would get over a double slip. They have to keep scrolling down because the chat thing adds a heart or what have you. I think it's like a reaction thing, but it blocks out words on comments. Got 2 likes at the moment, which is quite good considering I've been going for too long really. I don't plan on going on for very long. It's more of a run some trains tonight, have a natter, show I am still about, you know. I haven't got any videos planned, anything filmed. At the moment, the videos will literally be when I go up to Heritage Lines, I think, unless I get a random moment where I feel like filming. $15XX is going for it though, isn't it? I haven't got the heart on my shot. You can turn it off in the settings of the video when you see it's blocking that one. Set it up. Ah. may look into that at some point. I'll put up a shot of me running 3 coal trains on my layout earlier this week, by the way. I'll have to try and remember to have a look at that. I bet you have quite a good set of different operations you can do on your layout. So you said you've got about 20 odd points. I got a chap on one of the platforms and he refuses to stay stood up. That 15XX does look nice with that, with its outside motion, just spinning around at a good velocity. As it passes me, it picks up speed, so it's quite good. I have an up line, a down line, a freight line, and a diesel MPD so far. I'm building my steam MPD at the moment, and then a branch line. To a terminus over at the fiddle yard. Sounds like a good plan so far. Are you an era type of person where you set an era and that you're modelling, or is it all random? Is it preservation? I think if you want to run nearly everything, preservation is the way to go. Unless you had some at like the KR models Big Bertha they're making, you can't really run that on a... Well, you can, but of course Big Bertha's not preserved. I think that's an engine a lot of people wish was saved, to be honest. I do, for like the incline, say like the North York Moors. The railway with like really steep inclines, it'd be a really good engine to have. Be a lovely new build to have. That would be really interesting to have something like that on a new build. Seeing the Ruston 48 reminds me, there's a thing that came up on the news not long ago. Husband in his garden built a little railway, and they were doing a little open day for it. But he had a Ruston 48 with some rolling stock in it. Basically built a little railway in the garden that's quite hidden away. Started out as Era 4 South Wales steam freight, then run the 66 online, now run all sorts, even USHO, a Dutch EMU. Oh, so you're a good mix. I think a mix is nice, to be honest. There's people that at shows or buy an engine then go, oh, it's the wrong era. And I know there's a stand I heard them say, you know, even if it's the wrong era, we'll take it back for your layout. And it's like, the thing is, if you do that, you're going to restrict yourself from running things you like. Say you were building a layout based where there's only freight traffic, let's say, with little industrial shunters, like an industrial site, or you know, sort of a short run, and you wanted to run a passenger train, you know, if you wanted to run an A4 down a line that purely ran coal traffic, let's say, you're not going to buy the engines and what have you, because you're sort of telling yourself off and restricting yourself. And in reality, yeah, if you want to build it accurately and all that, go for it, but make sure you buy and run what you want, or what you like, because otherwise it sort of takes the fun out of it. Just put a big sticker on the front if you're doing a show, it's Rule 1 applies here, or something like that. I have an LNER Blue A4 GZA from the Midlands, Q1 and D1, and run what you like. I think that's the right way of doing it. I just snapped a canoe off a car roof. Not a sentence I thought I'd ever say. I remember when I done the canoe thing, I had a comment saying, you do realise that the canoe would be upside down. I was like, completely forgot about that thought. I've always left it, and I mean, I can't have it upside down. It's a modern Mercedes anyway, and I don't really say modern, not terribly modern, but it's not very nice of a model, but it's definitely a cheapy, nasty made thing. But someone, I think I got in a Rocket Railways box. Nothing really wrong with it, apart from it just being really plasticky. It's not even the wheels, the alloy wheels are actually just painted on some plastic circles. It's got a flexible floor. I have somewhere, saw it not long ago, a classic BMW with lights. And I remember I found it in a model shop that I think has closed now. But I saw it and it was very dusty and that, and it clearly been there a really long time. No one's ever really picked it up. Really old packaging and stuff like that. And they were like, oh, you can have that because it's been there for so long. And the lights work, but I've never sort of wired it in. But yeah, nice classic BMW. Thing is, I'm not a major modern car person. Especially now, I see new cars and I don't think much to them anymore. I think really the interest ends in the early 2000s for me. There are exceptions, of course, but I think basic early, well, just the basic cars are nice because they're a lot less to go wrong, but definitely some interesting stuff out, but not really of the new sort. But I shan't go down that way because I'll end up rattling for ages, like a lot of people have to hear about people going on about the new Ford Capri and stuff like that. We're building a layout for your MR Club, which will be interchangeable areas, everyone will be able to use it. That's a good idea, I like that. And I like the thought of a layout where, say, like, things are removable. So, like, you swap out an old-fashioned looking garage, like an early era garage, to a more modern one, and like a signal box that you can swap out for a concrete one and stuff like that. If you want some good random vehicles, try the 2500. See, that sounds good. You have a 1993 Corrado VR6. Ooh. See, I don't either. And the thing is, I know all cars really, at the time when you buy them, apart from some exceptions, you'll never tell if they're going to be a desirable classic or even a classic. But now I think it's really hard to tell. I'd rather keep an old car going. And if you keep the car long enough to the point where it goes majorly desirable, you can probably sell it for more than what you paid for it initially. Just depends how patient you are and how fussed you are about the modern features. And really, if you don't mind paying out more often on repairs if it's a bit more worn out. But yeah, and I do like an old Volkswagen. There's a film in Mid-Wales that they convert any vehicle to an electric. And they do it when they ban internal combustion. See, I'd only do that if I had to. I think it's a clever idea. If you're someone that wants, say, a classic car, that sort of don't want to tinker, which a lot of people get a car to tinker with, to be honest, but if you want something very sort of simple, you sort of want a car for the looks, I think, more, then I see that would be quite useful. If you're not fussed about having an engine, sort of the sound of an engine going. But personally, I'd rather keep an internal combustion engine as long as possible. But that would be a last resort for me. Thing is, I feel like if I went to an electric car, I'm not going to look after it because I haven't got as much of an interest or a love for it. I feel like, to me, that's different, but if I bought, say you've got a new electric car now, and in the years down the line I bought one second hand, I don't think I care about it. It'd just be so out of my interest. Whereas having a nice older car with an internal combustion engine, I think, I'd care for more. I rode in the Tesla the other day and it was a very strange experience. I can imagine it being. I know my dad's driven one. But he don't like them. I can imagine it being a really strange one. I know I say what I do and I haven't ever been in one, but I know I shouldn't really say anything until I've experienced it, but I just feel like I wouldn't like it. I don't like the thought of it. But I could sit in one and love it, but I like getting my hands dirty, really. I like something to tinker with. Didn't feel like you were in a car. No dials, all just screaming silence. See, I don't like the big screens. And I don't like the quietness of it, I think. I mean, since a lot more electric cars have been about, I've very much been more, so I'm walking down the road and what have you, or go to cross a road, and now I'm sort of like, really make sure there isn't even, isn't a electric car, because you can't hear it, whereas you can hear an engine a lot better. I'm sort of always careful crossing the road, you sort of think, well, I better really be careful, make sure, just in case now. You didn't hate it, it was just odd. I mean, I don't think I hate it, but I just, like you said, odd. I think I find it that odd that I didn't like the experience of it, just because of how odd it felt out of normal. You work for British Car Auctions in the graphics department, and there's a lot more EVs coming through the auctions. But do they do well? Because I hear they depreciate like anything. Probably been running this 15XX a while now, but the thing is, I really like running it. Yeah, I have. This one. Oh, it's warm. Definitely nice and warm. Right, this one's going to be fiddly to put on the track. You usually end up running the 16 and the 50. You just end up running the panniers. See, I end up running that pannier or the prairies normally. I think once I've got 5542 back, I think I'll run that a fair bit. But I find my 4555 not to be the strongest, and I feel like 5542 was stronger. I think 4555 is a bit more light on its feet, which sounds weird, but you can sort of sense it doesn't like it. The problem is this layout has a lot of hills, so engines tend to struggle more, like this one is, where I've just put on. Oh, it's set off now. I'll see how that goes. I think I will weaken it off a bit. Knock a couple of coaches off, see how that goes. Yeah, it's happier with that. Tornado. Yep, that's the one. quite a rare model. I think there's only 100 of those made. It's the TMC and Batman one. Which basically means it's had some things removed and added and what have you. But yeah, it's TMC modified. The only problem is it never come with the original box. But it's worth about, I think with a box really, but it's worth double what I paid for it, roughly. It is really nice and it's something different. Yeah, like the green I think is much nicer to look at, but that's more unique of a model to own, and I do think it looks smart. So that is basically Tornado as she was when she first steamed and rolled around in 2008 it must have been. Yeah, which is mad to think is 16 years ago now. Find it hard to believe. Was it 2008 or was it 2010? I have a feeling it's one of the two. What I really like is the sort of smoke box features on the front have been all picked out in white. Or silver, I can't remember, it's going too fast for me to see properly. I still only have the Steam Sentinel. I'll have to get diesel one soon. See, I don't have a Steam Sentinel, but I have 4 diesels. 2 of the 060s, which is the 2 39s, but ones I put into as 42. And then DH16, which is the first Sentinel I ever drove. And what else? Graham, which I've often thought about turning into Joan, but it's never done so. It's like it would want some lining added, new names, but of course the nameplate for Joan would be much shorter than it would be for Graham. And then I want it's like how I want to do partly would like to do my Holmingham Hall, I want to say, as Cranmore Hall, which I actually have a picture of Cranmore Hall up in the hallway of all things actually. A hall in a hall, never thought about that. I think what I'll do is run it for this stream for another 35 minutes. Run it so that it's been 2 hours and I'll call it a night, I think. It's only a short stream. And then once I've finished it, it'll be putting everything back. And yeah, call it in at night. I'm just watching your video, Chris. This is Coal Trains running. 3000 ROD, 2884 and 16XX. Oh, of course it would be the Rapido one, wouldn't it? Didn't think of that. I do like seeing the wagons loaded with coal. I've got a couple that are to the side. You can see this one here, and then a Middleton one, which is an exclusive, believe it or not, to the Middleton Railway. And the coal load isn't as... It's definitely finer, but it's not as realistic looking when you put it next to the one that has real coal in. I'm just watching another one. Keep it full chat. And I'll hop back on and see the chat. Most of mine are still empty. I'm looking for a cheap and good load to get 100 of. That would be a good idea. So I'll probably run these engines to till the end. So the ones you didn't see running that I put out today was my 2700 Pamia, which is the open car, another Terrier, which is Piccadilly, my E4 tank engine, and my A4 Sir Charles Newton, which is the wartime black one. Which, I don't know if you ever remember, but Sir Charles Newton was the one that one day I set off and it sort of jolted and all the rods decided to bend on it, which was quite a pain, and no one wanted to fix it. And in the end I pulled it apart, straightened my rods out, and it's never given me any trouble since. Enough on that. I'll catch up soon, put some photos on Discord. Oh, that's alright, Chris. I'll see you again at some point whenever I do another stream, probably. You take care. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. And yeah, I'll see you soon. So yeah, that Sentinel there is the Hornby 39, and it's had some paintwork done by a friend of mine. Lost the wasp stripes. The running along the frames is black now, and red and white stripes on the buffers, which is how 39 is now. The only reason I think Hornby done it the other way was to cheap out a little bit, because they could make the wasp striped chassis for two of the engines they initially released, which was the Manchester Ship Canal one and then this one, because they both wore the wasp stripes on the liveries. The only thing they changed were the buffers, but it looks so much better seeing it like that now. To me, it just feels a lot more right. Definitely feels right for me. There's 5 coaches with Tornado, which isn't a lot, but it's nice. I took the Hornby ones off because they've got a lot of drag. To be fair, the Kitmaster ones will have a bit of drag too, because they're... I don't know if one has metal wheels, but I think they are just plastic, or meant to be plastic wheeled old coaches that were kicked, so someone made them. But the Tornado looks nice going round. see we've got boosted viewers. So welcome to the stream. Just running some trains. I'm not planning on being on here for terribly long. Roughly half an hour longer now, and then I'll probably call it a day. But do enjoy watching some trains go around. And feel free to say hello in the chat, and I'll happy to have a little natter. So as you can see, we've got the 060 Sentinel PBA 39, an engine I've personally worked on and driven and what have you. Very nice engine. And then Tornado in grey. Got 3 watching, that's probably more 2, and 2 lights, which is quite nice. So yeah, Tornado was 2008. This model is nearly 16 years old then, which amazes me to think that I still can't believe that 2008 was actually 16 years ago. Weird, because you think Tornado has worked in some cases twice as long as a lot of 9Fs did, which is quite nice to think, really. Five to 10 at night. Goodness me. I'll have to put these engines to bed soon. I do like having the sound fitted 15XX, and I definitely say it's game changing. But it is also nice just to have the silent sound of maybe a gentle hum of the motors, but mostly the wheels over the rail joints. Which is what a lot of people get the nostalgic feeling of, is when they hear the wheels going over the joints. fallen quiet because I'm actually putting things away. Just sort of making things a little bit easier for when I finish. I've only got one engine to put away, and apart from the ones that are on the layout now, which is my E4. Which is an engine I've bought, and since I bought it, I thought I'd ban myself buying Western engine because I kept buying it. And even when I bought the E4, I was told by a few people, that isn't very you. But I said I wanted something different. I went through the Southern engine. I'm not massively a Southern engine person. Not that I don't like them. It's just I've never really delved deep into them. I've always delved deep into LNER and GWR mostly. A little bit of LMS as well, but never really the Southern. I do think they are some nice engines though. I've been going for an hour and 40, so I'll give it 20 more minutes. I might slow Tornado down a smidge. Won't be much because this is the stretch where they speed up. And then they slow down before there because of the hill. So they sort of thunder along, then slow down going up the hill. And then they speed up down that straight. And before you know it, we're past. I think it's soon time to have a whiskey. I'll probably when the stream finishes. So this is a phone box, right? It was in a Rocket Railways box and what have you. And you see it's missing a door. Didn't really know what to do with it, but found a use in the end. Well, in the UK, scattered around, a lot of people have repurposed letterboxes into little book things. And basically what it is people put in books, and it's basically sort of, you can drop a book in and take a book, or you can just take the books if you want, but yeah, basically it's a sort of community thing that happens all around the UK with these disused phone boxes, because of course phone boxes aren't really used anymore that much because a lot of people have a mobile phone on them. So it's nice to see they get repurposed because they're a lovely little piece of history around the country that are very decorative and quite nice to look at, I think, considering the main purpose of them was to stand in and have a natter down the phone to someone. But yeah, so all this is, it's actually barcode snipped up on some wood that's been shoved through the sides, so you can see the ends haven't been painted. Some little shells with some barcodes on, and up close it doesn't look that realistic, but when it's down on a layout and that, especially the finer barcodes, they're quite a nice little thing to see. What is the stream about? Well, welcome to the stream. It's quite simply running trains, some model trains, which I haven't done for a while. For 4 months at least was when I'd last done the stream, and I haven't really done anything since. And just to chat whilst running trains. A few people do these sort of streams. I like to do them as well. So mostly railway chat. We have had a bit of car chat come in, but apart from that, run trains and chat. I do change the trains roughly every half hour. This is the last of them. today now. But yeah, normal run, half hour per engine, gives them a bit of a run, but then keeps changing it up to sort of keep some form of interest up. Normally I'll do a bit more than I have today, as in switching up the consists and what have you, but today I thought I wasn't going to do a long stream, thought I'd just run a few just change the locos around more than anything else. So we've had a Terrier and a Class 25, London Transport Pannier Tank, Ruston 48, the Sentinel and Tornado, 15XX, which is sound fitted, very nice engine is that, which was the last one I ran before Tornado, which did get a bit of a long run today. What is your opinion, the best 1960s diesel in double O? Well, out of favouritism, it would be the Sentinel that's going round now. But I haven't got many diesels I must admit. I've got a lot, and most of my diesels are sort of Triang era, early sort of 80s Hornby era. So my in general best model is the Class 25, which is really strong and well made and heavy and what have you, quite nice overall. Then I've got a couple of Hymex, and I've got 3 Hymex, 2 blue of the older style motor, and then a ring-filled motored green one. But so my favourite as a model is in the quality of them would be the 25. Favourite in general would be the Sentinel, but that's because I'm a Steam fan, but my thing is Sentinels on the side. And out of diesels, that's where the most it goes really for me, looking into facts and what have you and figures of them. But then it's in age of the model. Probably have to be the Hymex, probably. I think they're nice models. I think I've managed to answer that in multiple different ways. Because I have sort of like 1960s models. Because I've even got the Double O Class 20, which is quite noisy, but is nice. But yeah, I think I've managed to answer that in different ways. I'm definitely more Steam enthusiast, but I mean, if I was to go for any diesel, it would be 1960s era. Yeah, and the Sentinels are Rolls-Royce built. Is in that form. When they done the Steam it wasn't, but basically Rolls-Royce bought the Sentinel name really, and then it went off to Thomas Hill and what have you, but Rolls-Royce was through the design and what have you. There's a lot of detail into how they built them and a lot of thought of the actual day-to-day use of them, which is really good. And you can read in the sales booklet they made, which I have a copy of, and you can really see where they thought it through. They even done a Sentinel driver school. And they even go into the detail of that they hand out diagrams and stuff, so you're not note taking, so it makes sure you've got full concentration and stuff like that. And I have a lot of booklets for things like 37s and what have you. A lot of the 60s diesels, but the paperwork's from like 70s onwards, and it's all the common faults with them and how to fix them, stuff like the later HSTs and that I've got too, and some DMUs I think, could be wrong, and I've got the manual to like the 08 type shunt, and I've got a few of those. It's nice to give these engines a bit of a warm up actually, because I don't get an awful lot of running anymore, and the more I've gained it, the more engines I've got over the years, the less each of them have ran really, because they sort of get an even, I say an even amount, it's definitely ones that get ran more than others, but still, they don't get ran as much as they would if it was only, say I only had 3 engines. But I have, I want to say 80 or 90. I think it is on the dot as well. I could be wrong. Yes, I did. I really liked the idea of it. But I must say, I do like the thought of the DCC module version. It's like the sound fitted. It's definitely something I've even thought of before about wouldn't it be good if someone done a model. They are a bit expensive, especially if you go for sound, but they are nice. But yeah, I think it'd be brilliant to have a DCC sound fitted Ivory engine, and I should hope that they do it with the characteristic sort of chuffs from the actual series instead of an actual real loco chuff. I do sort of hope it is the characteristic like it is in the like it was in the shows. I know it comes up with cardboard figures and what have you, shed and water tower, I think, water crane. But yeah, if they do one with the very like the sounds from the TV series, I'd be so glad. I think they'd miss something if they didn't, and they done it how with more realism of a steam engine. They definitely need to do their sort of if they don't, they have missed something now. But then I really look forward to seeing them release a video of the DCC sound fitted version, and they've got one running and what have you. And the whistle needs to be again, maybe they're fit the sort of musical feature to it where you can set up the play all the, because I've all played in the choir. To be honest, out of any brand, it is Rapido that I follow the most on updates. What the others I don't really look into, like Curascal or Hornby or what have you. I actually mostly look at what Rapido are doing because they've always got something on the go. Sentinel's quite obviously not running at scale speed. The actual top speed of that type of Sentinel is 17.6, but they generally were either 17.6 or 20.2 mile an hour. You think Oxford make the best wagon? I agree. The banana van, which is the third van in on the freight train, is an Oxford one, and it even has full detail underneath, which I think is absolutely amazing. In fact, a few of the wagons in there are Oxford. I think they're the best value for money. They are... I find the worst thing with them is the couplings. But apart from that, I think they're very solid because they're very well detailed, even underneath and what have you. And at the same time, they're one of the best value for money. I've never tried out a wagon from Rapido because I find their engines are more reasonably priced in general than their rolling stock. Because their rolling stock is averaged about £30 a wagon. However, I would happily try one out one day. But I feel like if I did, I'd buy one when it was reduced on a discount or a sale or what have you. I don't think I'd ever want to pay full price, which is a shame because I'd really like their yellow toed brake van because I think that looks quite nice. I've seen it in the flash. But in general, my go-to wagons are by Oxford because the detail's good and the prices are, I think, very reasonable for the detail that's there. In fact, they've released, I think it's a rerun of an engine, and I was quite tempted by it because they look quite good. But believe it or not, Oxford are owned by Hornby, or at least Oxford Railways. Getting a bit of a squeak from one of the coaches, I think. Bit of oil and that'll be fine. Haven't got much to do once this is over, sort of put the locos away, turn the light off in the lamp and put that away. I'll put a couple of coaches back on the layout, and that's it really. I think they're nice. I think they're quite characterful. Yeah, I think they're quite nice. I haven't looked deeply into them if they're selling like sort of two together or what have you, but I think they're definitely good. And being a Rapido model, they'd be very good. I've got their 50 double X, their 16-inch consulate and their line, and all have been very good models. And I've got a lot of faith in the company. I think they've got a lot going for them. And they're doing some nice characterful things. Of course, they're doing the S160 as well, which is what people have been asking for a very long time. But yeah, definitely nice little characterful things. And I think they'd be very good quality, as a lot of Rapido stuff is. I did quite like the thought of getting Met One, but for what I use, for how much I actually use the layout at the moment, it's not really so much for me. And if I did, I'd want the sound version, and then that gets quite expensive. So but in general, if I think I want to buy a new engine, I'll think of Rapido trains. Apart from at the moment with black prints that I would like to get. Problem is my layout is so small that not enough. I don't know how it would look. It would be nice with a nice long train, I think. Nice long freight train. I think that'd look really good. Gotta love a spaceship, as they were known as. Want a bit of wheel spin then. A lot of people like any rods to be down because it's more photogenic. So it's 21 minutes past 10. The stream is literally just ticked over 2 hours long, 2 hours and 20 odd seconds at the moment. So I think it's going to be a suitable time to call it a day now. I only plan to do an hour or two stream, preferably the 2 hour mark, which we've now hit. And so, yeah, I think that is quite a suitable time to call it a night. So I'll go home. I'm already home. I'll, sort of pack these couple of engines away, put the Mark 1s on, which I can do now, really. Just put a couple bits away and that'll be it for me. I'll be having a whiskey and going to bed, I should think. Been a good evening, good stream. Not the most popular, but not too quiet, I don't think. But apart from that, I think it's quite successful. And apart from at the very start, where I had a derailment, no disasters really, which I'm quite glad about. So yeah, I'll call it a day, I think. So thank you everyone for watching the stream, whether you've watched it through once it's finished or what have you, or even skipped through or come along, popped in and out and what have you. I appreciate you coming on and saying hello and what have you, and even just watching the trains go round and sadly having to put up with listening to me. So yeah, I'm eternally grateful for everyone's support, and if you've enjoyed it, don't forget about liking. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, always please do consider subscribing. There's a lot of content out there that I've done. 321 videos apparently, which is quite a lot, isn't it? There are more, but I've back along I cut a lot out. But the last nearly year has just been heritage sort of stuff, East Somerset Railway, Swanage and Bahamas on the main line. I do plan to try and work out more heritage railway type videos at the moment. I'm not majorly thinking about model railways as much, due to it being, believe it or not, more time consuming than filming the heritage railway. I can sort of spend a day at heritage railway filming around, put it all together and what have you, whereas the model railway stuff has to go through a lot of more thinking, if you know what I mean. A lot more thinking about how things are done, and a lot more takes, of course, and what have you. So that's why my aim is sort of more on the heritage side, because I'm a lot more busier than I used to be. But we shall see. I might throw a model railway thing out at some point soon. I haven't got anything planned soon, but anyway, I shan't bore you with all them details. So yeah, thank you for watching the stream. Like I say, like, subscribe and what have you. I appreciate you coming along and saying hello, or even, like I say, watching the trains. And I'm sure I'll see you another time, whether it be in weeks or months' time. But do not worry, I'm still about, just not as often. So yeah, thank you everyone, and take care, and I'll see you all soon. Cheerio for now.